Well, hello all. I'm Stephen Gelson, and I want to welcome you to our first session of SWK 330, where really it is an examination of the contemporary issues in diversity and pluralism. I'm going to use this short video as a way to introduce myself to some of you who I have not met, and also encourage you, if you would like to get together or if you would like to meet via Skype, in my office, or some other virtual format, please don't hesitate to let me know. Because this is an asynchronous class, an asynchronous virtual class, which means ultimately we may not have some of the instructor-student interaction that you more commonly have in other classes. The bulk of our learning this semester will take place via a variety of MP3 or audio files linked with a PowerPoint or two. Embedded within many of those PowerPoints will also be some video. But what I want to use this one video tonight to do is really to review the syllabus, some of the ins and outs of it that we need to attend to, and also ask you to please contact me if you have any questions whatsoever. I will subsequently, after this video, come on and I'll do an MP3 file, an audio file lecture linked to our PowerPoint. So if you open up the syllabus, what you'll see is, one, yes, this is an asynchronous virtual class, which means that you can go on at 3 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, 12 o'clock in the afternoon. The ultimate choice for you, or how you arrange your schedule, is up to you. However, it needs to be done within the confines of getting your work done within the required allotment of a week at a time. I typically will post my lectures to you on a Sunday night. If for some reason I'm unable to do that, please watch the announcements, and I'll always make an announcement in that folder, which also will go to your email, that will identify you perhaps any changes that we may make in the schedule with readings, additions, deletions, as well as any adjustments in terms of our meeting time. We have a really pretty much straightforward discussion this semester on, as I mentioned, diversity and pluralism, largely as it relates to, for the most part, a social work perspective. I have selected a text this semester that I think is really exciting. It just came out. It is, the text is The Good Fight, America's Ongoing Struggle for Justice. Now, there's two ways that you can get that text. One, the library will have a copy of it, or you can go on to Amazon and purchase it from there. So it runs in the nature of $22 to $25. One of the exciting features about this particular text is the one that just came out. It does a nice job of incorporating both some historical analysis of a variety of populations, but also first-person accounts of that. One of the other really wonderful features of this is it has embedded within the book, if you download the Good Fight app for your cell phone or your tablet, when you come upon a particular icon within the text, and you can read about this within the text, once you come upon that, then if you hover over that, that will take you to additional photographs, additional recordings. So there really is a much more expansive conversation about diversity and pluralism, both within the text itself, the typical written version, but also reference back to other videos, other links, other recordings. So I really encourage you to explore all the possibilities within this particular text. Now, I'm not going to go over the particular course description. You can read that. But our intent with the course description and the objectives is just to identify that we intend to cover and look at the issues of diversity, multiculturalism, and pluralism from a variety of perspectives, but also link that to the issues of social, political, and economic justice, and do that within the framework as prescribed or detailed to us by the Council on Social Work Education. So I've also posted the Council on Social Work Education's guidelines for discussion of diversity and issues of social justice. And we'll come back to that in just a little bit, because that's going to be part of your assignment. So please look over the objectives. As I mentioned, really the intent is to look at how policies have and or procedures and our approaches have either served to exclude and or include individuals. What have been the consequences of it? And then what are some of the possible solutions? And that really is, again, back in terms of why I selected our particular text, because I think that it is a proactive approach to thinking about, boy, let's look at what happened. Whether we're talking about Japanese Americans, or we're talking about Muslims, or we're talking about African Americans, or any of the other populations under discussion here. But not only what has happened historically, what are some of the spokespeople for those groups, those individuals, those congregations, and what are potentially the future for us in terms of what needs to be or what can be perhaps our responses. Now, we will start reading from that text on February 5th. Prior to that, our readings are in the form of PDFs. We're using Blackboard, as you know. Now, let me give you a little bit of information about Blackboard. Our Blackboard account is set up so that my suggestion is, if you have technological issues, problems with it, if you've not used Blackboard before, please go to there's a Blackboard video that is designed specifically for students in terms of how to use and access Blackboard. What are the elements of, what are some of the features within that? If you have problems at all, at any time with that technology, there are links allowing you to connect with the Blackboard staff, the IT staff at the University of Maine. You can also give them a call. They are experts, and they're more than willing to help you navigate, learn to understand, and get through some of the wrinkles, as it were, with Blackboard. There are times that I really like Blackboard. There are other times that, boy, I'm not fond of it at all. But they are there to help us. If, as you move through our course, if there are links on any of the PowerPoints that I post, or any of the readings that I have coming up that are not working, those are my responsibility. Please let me know. I've also included on our Blackboard folder, as it were, some links on the left-hand side in the control panel, so you can send an email directly to me. You'll also be able to click on an email that will go to all the other students in our class. So at any time you want to communicate to other people in our class, the students, just by clicking that will also on that area is a link which you'll be able to go back to the IT people. So try to make it as seamlessly as possible for you to be able to navigate, which at times can be a complicated virtual or complicated technological environment. Again, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to talk to me. I've put a link on there for Google Hangout so that you and I can meet virtually, face-to-face, as it were, on our screens, screen-mediated face-to-face. You can also use Google Hangout in terms of your work with other people in our class, because one of the elements is going to be some small group work, which you can use that as well. So let me go through some of the work in our class in terms of our syllabus. As I mentioned, the course description and the course objectives are there. Information about our text, where you can get that text, what are the features of it. Please, again, explore that. So really a wonderful text at a great price, because it's been underwritten by a number of foundations interested in the issues of diversity, pluralism, multiculturalism, and social justice in terms of responses. Because this is an asynchronous class, it's online, one of the downsides, or one of the complicating factors sometimes for some people, is it's easy to fall behind. It's easy to not stay up with what needs to be done. So please try your best to don't fall behind. If you have any problems whatsoever, let me know right away, and you and I can work in terms of how best to get you caught back up. The syllabus identifies both my responsibilities as instructor to be available and to make the material accessible to you. It identifies your responsibilities. You can look through those in terms of what it means in terms of academic honesty. If you have any needs in terms of learning needs, please let me know. What we're going to do with our class, and I'll briefly kind of go over the assignments, is we have a variety of assignments this semester. If you see me, I'm glancing off to my left, what would be to your right, to make sure that I'm reviewing the assignments. They're every week, and to be posted on Sunday by 5 p.m. so that I can incorporate your comments into it. Is a reading review critique of what have been either the assigned videos or the readings for the upcoming week. So as example, there is nothing assigned for this week, but for next week, those readings which are identified as being as the focus of our class for the week of January 29th, you would read those and post your comments, critique, review, and first provide a brief summary, and then any questions or critique that you might have of that video. Please post that by Sunday at 5 o'clock. That is assignment number 1. My grading of that is really based upon timeliness, did you submit it on time, and thoroughness. I'm not going to grade on that on terms of agreeing or disagreeing with your ideas and your interpretation, but did you do it on time, and is it thorough and complete? If I have any questions about or requests for you to expand on it, I will let you know that. The second assignment is actually a double assignment. It's assignment 2, which moves over into 3. I'm going to be, because our class is 30 some odd people, I'm going to arbitrarily put us into small groups. And within those small groups, there's a couple of things that are going to take place. Is one, all of my lectures, all of the PowerPoints will have an instructor-guided question or 2. Your need for that is to make your interpretation and post your response to the instructor-guided question to your study group folder. And then the next step in that is by latter part of the week to read what your group members have posted and provide a response to them. And it's not just that I liked your posting, but what are your thoughts about it? What are the strengths? Were there areas that you learned from? Were there areas that they might want to consider? Part of the issue for this is understanding that these comments or our participation is when we evaluate other people's ideas, is evaluating ideas, not people. And so we need to make sure that when we post our responses, we do that in a thoughtful and considerate way. So this is a 2-part small group piece that makes up your grade. Again, is you're posting in terms of timeliness and completeness. And so the first posting to assignment number 2, as it is to be done by Friday at 5 p.m. And so that's your response to the instructor-guided question. And then for you to read and respond to your group mates by 5 p.m. on Sunday. So you've got 2 assignments there during that week. We'll go over the small group presentation a little bit later in the semester. This is where you ultimately form into small groups, which is one of the reasons why I put on this, made it so that you can connect with other people in the group. We'll talk a little bit more in the semester about how you connect with other people in the group. And what I'm asking you to do, if you look at assignment number 4 here, is selecting a particular diversity group from a list that I provided, and then develop a presentation, a PowerPoint presentation on a diversity topic that you post to your study group. So once you've done that, and you're going to be doing that as a group, you're going to actually be posting that to the assignment. It's not, I'm sorry, that's not to your, you don't post that to your study group, you'll post it to the assignment number 4 link. Okay. And then, of course, there's a midterm and a final exam. We'll go over these assignments again from time to time. But let's look at briefly in terms of what we are going to look at this semester. And then I will break and I'll come back with an audio file with our first PowerPoint. This week we're really going to do an overview and introduction of what do we mean by diversity, multiculturalism, pluralism, those types of features. We're going to next week kind of move a little bit more into what are some of the difficulties of having that conversation and engaging in conversation, and how do we understand the meaning of diversity and looking at classical definitions but also contemporary definitions. From there, on February 5th, we really are moving into our first conversations from our text, where they're going to introduce us to what are the foundations for understanding diversity, our 2 Americas according to the text authors. After that, we're going to have a conversation about Native Americans, then move on to African Americans, Japanese Americans, Jewish Americans, Muslim Americans, Latino Americans, American women, LGBTQ Americans, and ultimately kind of in disabled Americans, and then finally some concluding thoughts. So please take a look at the syllabus. Let me know if you have any questions whatsoever, and I'll come back with you shortly. We'll have our first introduction to our course. Anyway, welcome to SWK 334 Spring 2018. I look forward to really a fascinating course with a new text for me that I'm really quite excited about. Take care now.